Well, it happened, y'all. UFC 303, the main event, Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. The co-main event, Carlos Ulberg versus Jamal Hill. Both of those fights have been canceled. Okay? One of those indefinitely. The other, maybe until UFC 307, 308. That's what I'm hearing right now. And, the entirety of MMA media has done their greatest thing ever and threatened to oil up Dana White. And I'm going to be real with you. I think Dana White cooked here. I really do. We're going to be going through the whole Dana White video. This is going to be a very ranty video. I know I've been saying that lately, but for whatever reason, you guys dislike it when I just rant about certain stuff in the MMA community. And today we got a lot to talk about, so I don't want to have a long intro. But if you haven't already, please consider like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into this. Let's go with the Dana White video, and then we're going to be going through Twitter really quick. And let's get going now.
All right, guys, here I am again. Conor McGregor is out of 303 versus Michael Chandler with an injury. The new main event is Alex Pereira, former...
Let's just start with this, bro. Dana White has had a rough couple days, dude. We have Khamzat Chimaev straight up being hospitalized, and I'll talk about that because some people, after hearing the knowledge of, well, he was in the hospital because he's sick, don't you feel bad about saying what you did? Yeah, not really. We're not holding up an entire fucking division because somebody had a terrible case of the sniffles. Look, I'm just going to be real with you, dude. Well, I'll get to that in a second, but Khamzat Chimaev, we do have some advice to give the Khamzat near the end. But Dana White has been having a rough time lately because imagine Khamzat Chimaev is out of his fight against Robert Whittaker the very same day Conor McGregor's no longer fighting Michael Chandler, and you know fans are going to go ballistic. And this is what he cooks for us.
Not only UFC middleweight champion, he's also the first and only fighter to win both middleweight and light heavyweight titles in UFC history. He also did it in the shortest amount of time. He did it in 736 days and 7 fights. He finished 7 of 9 wins by knockout, which is a 78% finish rate, and won 10 of his last 11 fights, and he is facing former UFC light heavyweight champion.
I love this, dude. Like, understand, I made a whole video going over UFC brain rot, the poetards, and when I say something mean about Alex Pereira, I have to hit it. I'll give him credit where credit's due. Alex Pereira is speedrunning a Hall of Fame spot, and in some people's eyes, speedrunning a GOAT status run. Think about that, dude. Alex Pereira, I said this on like a little TikTok I made a while back, but I'll say it again because I think it rings even more true now. Alex Pereira is the UFC's greatest asset. I really do. I think Alex Pereira is a bigger asset than Conor is right now, and I think Alex Pereira is a bigger asset than Israel Adesanya and Jon Jones. Let me explain myself. I'm not saying Alex Pereira is going to pull more pay-per-views than Conor. I'm not saying that his legacy is greater than Jon Jones, but there's the thing about Alex Pereira is this is a guy that I do believe will fight at absolutely any time. I'm very curious to see what his sow and win money is because he also hasn't committed the cardinal sin of negotiating on Twitter, Paulo Costa. Alex Pereira, we don't know how much money he makes. For all we know, this dude is getting paid in, like, I don't even know, dude. I guarantee you he's making at least a cool $2.5 million for this because this is a very short notice title fight. The one thing that's, like, it's just so crazy, dude. Alex Pereira, Yuri Prochazka too, while Magomed Ankalaev is sitting out on the sidelines. And I could see a scenario where the UFC just says, you know what, fuck that, bro. Alex Pereira is going to be fighting Jon Jones. We're going to go into the Jon Jones saga slightly. I don't want to lose focus too much. But, dude, Alex Pereira pulls in great pay-per-view numbers, can't speak a lick of English outside of Shama in Let's Go Adesanya, and fights more often than any other champion ever. Bro gets KO'd by Israel, 3 months later fights the dude that beat him. It's insane, dude.
Brian Ortega, who has the second most...
Let me go back a bit.
...rate. The co-main event will be number 3 ranked Brian Ortega, most finishes in featherweight history, and the second most submissions in featherweight history. He won Performance of the Night 8 times, and he will be...
I do want to bring up something about the Brian Ortega fight because I think this is an easier fight to pick than a lot of people are giving it credit for.
Taking on rising superstar Diego Lopez.
Yeah!
22 of his 24 wins coming by finish with 10 knockouts and 12 submissions. That's a 92% finish.
I think that's gonna be it. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it. This is what I don't understand, dude. People are picking Brian Ortega to win this fight, and they're just gonna say dude. I might eat my words on this one, and somebody can clip this later on. This to me is such an easy fight to pick. Diego Lopez is getting this done. Like, I don't understand. Like, it almost feels fake how many people are pretending that this is going to be a clear win for Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega was getting pieced up on the feet by Yair Rodriguez. He was getting destroyed on the feet. The reason that he won is because Yair Rodriguez has some of the worst grappling IQ I've ever seen. Yair Rodriguez could have won that fight so easily if he just decided that, hey, maybe I'm not going to grapple with one of the best submission specialists the sport's ever seen in Brian Ortega. Like, I knew we were cooked the moment Brian Ortega was able to get top position. Brian Ortega was getting lit up on the feet, drilled with leg kicks, drilled with head kicks, getting destroyed by Yair. And Yair's a good striker. So is Diego. Dude, Diego KO'd Sadiq Youssef. Sadiq Youssef was able to make a war with Edson Barboza, one of the greatest kickboxers the sport's ever seen. Like, what? We know Diego Lopez is a good grappler. He looked good against Movsar Evloev, a fight people thought he won. Diego Lopez will beat Brian Ortega. He is. I don't understand why people are pretending that this is a clear pick. Like, I think Brian Ortega is the favorite slightly. Dude, I'm very... it's not very often that I am confident in a pick, okay? Look, I'm so confident I will put a lot of money on this. I'm going to put a decent amount of money on Diego Lopez to get this one done. Because Diego Lopez is a better striker than Brian Ortega. I think Brian Ortega is a crazy overrated striker. What are you seeing that I'm not seeing, dude? Like, what are we both looking at right now? Grappling, yes, Brian Ortega is a better grappler than Diego Lopez. But the thing about grappling is when you're at a certain level, like... people that have trained it, they understand this idea. If you go into a grappling match and your idea is, I'm just not going to get submitted, it's all of a sudden very difficult to submit you. If you're going into a grappling match when you guys are both hunting for submissions, then yeah, one of you is going to get submitted. The better man's going to win. If Diego Lopez goes into this matchup and just says, I'm going to outstrike him on the feet, I have good enough wrestling. I'm going to be able to get out of a lot of these exchanges. My grappling IQ is near Brian Ortega's, maybe not better than him, but I know what he's good at, and I'm going to be able to slip a lot of these triangles that he's going to be throwing, and might be able to take top position and get a TKO. But even if I'm not able to do that, I'm just going to separate, and I'm going to strike with him on the feet. Like, Diego Lopez, I don't understand why people are picking Brian Ortega here. Diego Lopez will win this fight, and I think this is going to get him into that area where he's potentially going to be fighting Ilia Topuria. Diego Lopez is suiting up fans' ratings. People are loving on Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez is a hot commodity item right now. He's fun to watch fight. Good striking, good grappling, fun personality. Looks pretty funny too. That also helps. Look at Yuri. Diego Lopez is potentially going to be fighting for the title early next year because if Ilia beats Max Holloway, it's either Ilia versus Movsar or Ilia versus Diego Lopez, and I think they're going to do Diego Lopez Movsar too because they don't like Movsar Evloev because he's not that entertaining. That's what I think they're going to do. Okay, I really do. Or it's going to be Diego Lopez Arnold Allen. That's what I think is going to happen. That'll be a number one contenders match, but they're not going to call it that. But Diego Lopez is going to win. That's going to be the co-main event. Okay? Fucking Chandler, bro. I want to see what Chandler posted. This is not pre-rehearsed. I have no clue what Chandler posted, so I kind of hope it's something funny. What is Chandler bringing up? Oh, God, what are we doing? Oh, that's May 29th. I legit... 19 hours ago... Oh, he's kind of been silent. 19 hours ago. Amount of times these fighters have pulled out of fights in their entire careers. What? Bro, he got hit with the community notes. Bro, he said Notorious MMA's never pulled out of a fight. Bro, that's kind of funny. That they hit him with the Cage Warriors. Yeah, no, he pulled out. That's kind of... Like, I understand what Chandler was saying here. And I do feel bad for Chandler, dude. Chandler, this poor guy right here, okay? Adopted a... I'm not going to make a joke about the adoptions. He's a good dude. I'm not going to do that. But Michael Chandler needs a hug, bro. Let's just talk about what's been going on with Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler has to realize that he is the replaceable guy here. When he originally planned to fight Conor McGregor, I guarantee you, he was told by UFC representatives it was going to be a year. He said, a year and a half, dude. You're going to be out for a little bit. You're going to get a nice money fight with Conor McGregor. And it's going to be for a #1 contenders match. If you have a good performance against Conor at 155, we can get you into a title fight against Islam, bro. And you could become a champion, speedrun Hall of Fame, make a lot of money in there. We're going to make a lot of money together, Chandler. I guarantee you that's what the conversation was, okay? The fight takes longer than it's supposed to. We knew Chandler versus Conor was already a hot item, right? And then it takes longer than they think. So they decide, okay, let's make the most out of this time we're gonna have off. Let's do Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor in the next season of Tough to build some publicity here. And I'm not gonna lie to you, that was one of the worst seasons of Tough I've ever seen. Okay, like for whatever reason, I just did. Damn, that was a burp right there. My bad, guys. There just wasn't the energy that I expected. Chandler has to realize that he is the replaceable one in all the negotiations. Let's be real here. If Chandler broke his fucking femur, okay, they wouldn't even reschedule this fight. It would be Conor McGregor mysteriously recovered from his sin injury and is going to be fighting Charles Oliveira at 155. It's going to be something crazy like that. Chandler has to be walking around in bubble wrap right now because he has to know that if he gets injured, he's never fighting Conor again. And they're going to make him fight somebody like Benoit Saint Denis on the prelims of a numbered card or to open up a numbered card. Like, he said he is, at this point, it's going to be 2.5 years of no fights at 155. Okay? That is what it's going to be moving forward. And it's not because he's scared of... Well, that's probably because he's scared of losing. Because if he loses to Armin, if he loses to Benoit Saint Denis, if he loses to Max Holloway for a BMF title, he's not fighting Conor. Michael Chandler, at this point, he has spent so much time out that it actually would be worse if he did anything other than fight Conor. This is a nothing burger of a fight. I keep on saying it. Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor means absolutely nothing if you replace Conor McGregor with just some average 155er. This fight means nothing. It is two 155ers fighting at welterweight. This fight means absolutely nothing outside of Conor McGregor's fighting. Let's market it. Michael Chandler is like the basic creative fighter that you had in UFC 3, 4. And he's fighting Conor McGregor. They are fully aware that they can replace him at any moment, and so does Michael Chandler, okay? That is the brutal reality of the matter. Any time of that this fight is going to get rescheduled, it is purely on Conor McGregor's behalf. And he's only going to be out for 2 months. He probably just had a scare with his leg, probably a microfracture in practice, and Dana White's over here like, oh, take your time. You'll be fine, okay? Well, we can reschedule this for some other time. So yeah, it's looking like 307 at the absolute soonest, but it's looking like 308 through 315, which, that's a long time, bro. Like, I'm losing hype for this fight, and there wasn't... Dude, there's a scenario where Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor is going to be a co-main. Because at that point, like, you have John Jones that's probably going to be coming back around then. John Jones will be the main event. He will never give up the main event spot to a Conor McGregor, even if he's fighting Stipe, which means nothing. Maybe O'Malley would give it up. Wait, no, because Hassan O'Malley's fighting Merab on 306. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. Is Ilya going to give up a main event spot? Probably not. But yeah, dude. The last thing on our little lineup today is Khamzat Chimaev, okay? Okay, good. I didn't know if the Khamzat... Okay, then I don't need to be recording that. So Khamzat Chimaev is in the hospital critical condition, and I hinted to it in the beginning. Dude, we need to get your health checked, bro. Like, legit, it's gotten to the point that it's not even something that I'm not even gonna roast you on it, but bro, like, you actually have a pretty bad, like, health problem. Okay? I know that's like, no duh, he's in the ICU, but like, think about it, dude. If you pull out of a fight one time due to a sickness, it's like, oh, okay, you got sick. It is what it is. A second time, it's like, okay, coincidence maybe? It is what it is. Like, stuff comes around. 3 times? Okay, brother, get your health checked. what are you doing? We need to start changing how your life is going, okay? Like, what are you doing that's getting you sick? But a fourth time pulling out of a fight because you have a health problem? Like, we've moved beyond, like, oh, poor Khamzat Chimaev. Like, it's still poor Khamzat, but it's in a different tone. It's now in, Khamzat, what's going on? You can't get sick 4 times in a row so bad that you're in the ICU. Who is in your camp taking control of this? Okay? At this point, Dana White himself needs to send any type of health professional to Khamzat to just figure out what's going on. If it's like what it was last time, and what it is Khamzat Chimaev has he has an immune disorder, and what's happening is he gets sick during training camps, and instead of taking it easy, he starts running a marathon and doing 20 rounds. Like, understand, if you're like 16, you hear that and you're like, metal, look at him, he's sick, and now he's training even harder. I hear that as a 21-year-old man, and I'm thinking to myself, brother, that's the dumbest shit that I've ever heard. I'm sick, so I'm going to work even harder. Yeah, bro, let's sacrifice your entire career because somebody wants to be a tough guy. That's what we're doing. There is no scenario where Khamzat Chimaev is going to come back and get a #1 contenders match. That's not going to happen. I said it in the last video talking about this yesterday. If you are a Strickland fan, you are rejoicing because Strickland will get the next title shot because he is the only dude that is marketable enough to... he's the second most marketable dude in the division. Dricus du Plessis is champion. If Dricus beats Israel, boom, Strickland rematch. That sells either way. If Israel beats Dricus, Israel doesn't owe a rematch to Dricus because he already beat the guy. Who is he going to fight? Ikram Aliskerov? He's not going to fight Robert Whittaker again. That doesn't matter. Unless you're going to do a super fight between Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira, which is a potential fight that you could do. That's all I'm saying. And they might do that over a Strickland, but like, realistically, in terms of middleweights, Strickland is going to go after Israel, and then he's going to fight the winner of Adesanya versus du Plessis. That's going to happen next. The only reason Khamzat would have been above a Strickland is Khamzat is just as marketable as Strickland is in terms of pay-per-views. But if there's no Khamzat, are we going to do an Ikram? Is Ikram going to go above Strickland if Ikram somehow beats Robert Whittaker? No. Like, I'll be happy for Ikram. Ikram's not, he's not bringing those pay-per-views. He's not bringing the pay-per-view. Like, Khamzat Chimaev will at least bring a buzz and a pay-per-view presence. Strickland will bring the pay-per-views, but people just don't like hearing him talk in press conferences. Or, if you're part of the other 50%, you love it. Like, Strickland will bring the pay-per-views. Khamzat would have brought the pay-per-views, but if there's no him, Strickland's next. If you are a Khamzat fan, you're going to be in for a rough road. Last time Khamzat Chimaev was this sick, he teased retirement. That's why Colby Covington was talking about how you had a case of the sniffles and it nearly took you out of your career. Like, here's the thing. I do not want Khamzat Chimaev to get turned into a what-if case. What if he wasn't immune compromised? What if he didn't get sick? What if he cared for his health? We still have time, okay? We know what would happen if it's a what-if scenario, okay? He's not going to become a champion. He's not going to do what anybody thought he was going to do. Get your health in order. I don't care if you sit out for a whole year at this point, okay? But when you come back, I never want to see this happen again because it has gotten to the point that we can't hold up a division because you got sick. We cannot do that. We're not holding up middleweight for a dude that beat Kamaru Usman on 10 days' notice. We can't do that, dude. I want you to come back, but I want you to not come back half-cocked like you did last time. I want you to come back healthy. If that means you're going to take another year off, then I guess that means you're going to take another year off. I don't think it'll be that long, but I would rather you take one more long break and come back when you're 30 and finally start going on this championship run that you've been talking about ever since you came into the UFC. Don't become a what-if scenario. Become a success story, okay? Khamzat Chimaev coming to the UFC has a super crazy in 10 days beats 2 opponents. Just get better, come back, you can fight. I don't even know. We'll resolve that issue when you come back. But at this point, Strickland's going to be the next to fight for the title. That's just how it's going to play out. Imavov's not next, Ikram's not next, and Robert Whittaker's not next. We need to see how Israel and Dricus plays out. And Alex Pereira is the greatest asset of the UFC at this point because he is the only dude who can pull pay-per-views, will take any fight on short notice, and is really just him at that point. But there you go. I just wanted to rant about that whole situation because of how quickly that developed. And I will see you all maybe tomorrow at this point. Like the amount of stuff that's coming up. If you want to see me rant about other things, I do another channel. Ethan on Everything. I just rant about random bullshit that I enjoy. That's going to be in the description down below. Thank you everybody who enjoys my content. And I will see you all next time. Adios.